Your headache isn't caused by your mother-in-law. I know this sounds controversial, especially since there's an entire industry built on telling you otherwise. An industry that made over $3 billion last year convincing people that every physical symptom can be traced back to an unresolved childhood trauma or a toxic relationship. But here's what nobody's telling you. The connection between your mind and body is real, incredibly real, just not in the way Instagram healers want you to believe. Let me explain what's actually happening. The term psychosomatics gets thrown around like confetti at a wedding these days. Everyone's an expert. Your yoga instructor diagnoses your back pain as suppressed anger. Your life coach says your allergies stem from fear of intimacy. A book you bought online claims your diabetes is actually unprocessed grief. And the scary part? Some of this sounds almost reasonable. Because the truth hidden inside these oversimplifications is that your psychological state absolutely affects your physical health. Always has, always will. The question isn't whether this connection exists. The question is how it works and what we should actually do about it. Let's start with what science actually shows us. When you experience stress, your body doesn't just feel stressed. Your adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases. Blood vessels constrict. Your immune system modulates its response. These aren't metaphors. These are measurable, physical changes happening in real time. Here's a study that blew my mind. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon University exposed healthy volunteers to cold viruses. Before exposure, they assessed each person's stress levels. The results? People under chronic stress were twice as likely to develop actual cold symptoms. Same virus, different outcomes. The variable? Psychological state. Or consider this. Scientists have documented that wounds literally heal slower in people experiencing psychological stress. Medical students were given small punch biopsies during summer vacation and again during exam period. The wounds during exams took 40% longer to heal. 40%, same students, same procedure, different mental state. This is psychosomatics. Real, documented, fascinating. But here's where things go sideways. Somewhere between stress affects your immune system and your thoughts can cure cancer, we crossed a dangerous line. A line that's costing people their health, sometimes their lives. I'll share a story that still keeps me up at night. A woman came to see me about her daughter's persistent stomach pain. The child was 9 years old, lost weight, vomiting, clear signs of something seriously wrong. But they'd spent 6 months working with a psychosomatic healer who insisted the problem was emotional. The mother's divorce was manifesting in her daughter's gut. They did family constellation therapy, energy healing, emotional release sessions. When I finally examined the child, I found a tumor. Treatable, thankfully, because we caught it when we did. But those 6 months, they mattered. Every single day mattered. This is what happens when we confuse correlation with causation. When we mistake influence for origin. Yes, your emotional state influences how your body responds to illness. No, your emotional state didn't create the tumor, the infection, the autoimmune condition, or the genetic disorder. This distinction isn't semantic. It's life or death. Think about it this way. Imagine your body is a house and your immune system is the security system. Stress is like leaving windows open. Does leaving windows open cause burglars to exist? No. Does it make it easier for them to get in? Absolutely. Should you close your windows? Of course. Should you also lock your doors, maybe install actual security cameras, and call the police if someone breaks in? Yes, to all of it. You don't choose between securing your windows and calling the police. You do both. Yet somehow, in the psychosomatic world, we've created a false choice. Team medicine versus team mindset, pharmaceuticals versus positive thinking, surgery versus self-help. It's absurd. Let me tell you about the billion-dollar lie being sold to desperate people. There are books and courses teaching that every disease has a specific emotional cause. Lung problems mean you're afraid to live fully. Skin conditions reflect boundary issues. Kidney stones represent crystallized tears. This isn't just oversimplified, it's actively harmful. First, it places impossible emotional burdens on sick people. Imagine being told your cancer exists because you didn't process your emotions correctly. As if being sick isn't hard enough, now it's also your fault. Second, it delays actual treatment. Every day someone spends trying to manifest their healing is a day their condition potentially worsens. Third, it creates shame. If you're doing all the emotional work and still sick, what does that mean? That you're not trying hard enough? Not spiritual enough? Not healed enough? It's cruel, and it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how bodies work. So let's get clear on what psychosomatics actually is and isn't. Psychosomatics is understanding that psychological factors are legitimate risk factors for physical disease. Chronic stress increases your risk of heart disease. Depression can worsen diabetes outcomes. Anxiety can trigger migraines. These connections are real and important. Psychosomatics is recognizing that addressing mental health improves medical outcomes. A cardiac patient who also receives treatment for depression has better survival rates. A chronic pain patient who learns stress management techniques often needs less medication. Psychosomatics is acknowledging that symptoms can be amplified or diminished by psychological factors. Your pain is real, and your stress can make it worse. Both things are true. Psychosomatics is not a replacement for medical diagnosis and treatment. Your meditation practice is wonderful. It doesn't replace chemotherapy for cancer. Psychosomatics is not a moral judgment. Being sick doesn't mean you failed emotionally. Health isn't a reward for good vibes. Psychosomatics is not a one-way street. Yes, your mind affects your body. Your body also affects your mind. Try thinking happy thoughts with a raging urinary tract infection. Physical illness impacts mental state just as much as mental state impacts physical health. Here's what evidence-based psychosomatic medicine actually looks like. A man comes in with ulcerative colitis. We treat the inflammation with appropriate medication. We also assess his stress levels, screen for depression, discuss his sleep quality, explore whether he has support systems. If needed, we bring in a mental health professional, not instead of medical treatment, alongside it. A child has asthma. We create an action plan with proper inhalers and environmental controls. We also talk to the family about reducing chaos at home, about not smoking, about helping the child feel secure. The psychology matters, so does the albuterol. This integrated approach isn't new age, it's just good medicine. The human body doesn't exist in separate compartments. Your brain doesn't stop being an organ just because it also produces thoughts. Your thoughts don't exist in a vacuum separate from your biochemistry. Everything connects. That's the point. So how do you navigate this? How do you take advantage of real mind-body medicine without falling for dangerous pseudoscience? Here's my framework. 1. If someone tells you to stop medical treatment in favor of emotional healing alone, run fast. Legitimate psychosomatic practitioners work with doctors, not against them. 2. Be suspicious of anyone who claims they can cure specific diseases with emotional work. Can stress management help with high blood pressure? Absolutely. Can it replace blood pressure medication for someone in hypertensive crisis? Absolutely not. 3. Watch for promises of certainty. Real medicine deals in probabilities and risk reduction. Charlatans deal in guarantees. This will cure your arthritis versus this may help reduce inflammation and improve your quality of life. Notice the difference. 4. Look for integration, not replacement. Good practitioners say and, not instead of. Medication and therapy. Surgery and stress management. Treatment and emotional support. 5. Remember that your feelings are not diagnostic tools. Yes, you feel worse when stressed. That doesn't mean stress caused your illness. It means stress is affecting an existing condition. The real revolution in psychosomatic medicine isn't about replacing medical care, it's about enhancing it. It's understanding that the patient crying in pain needs both pain management and emotional support, that the person with chronic illness benefits from both medication and mental health care. That healing happens best when we treat the whole person, not just the disease. This isn't revolutionary because it's new, it's revolutionary because we forgot it. Ancient physicians understood this. They knew that a patient's spirit affected outcomes, but they also set broken bones and treated infections. They didn't choose, they integrated. Somewhere along the way, Western medicine became hyper-focused on the physical while dismissing the psychological. That was a mistake. But the solution isn't to make the opposite mistake. The solution isn't to dismiss the physical while focusing only on the psychological. The solution is integration, always has been. Your body is a biological system. Biology responds to psychology. Psychology emerges from biology. They're inseparable. Any approach that treats them as separate is incomplete at best, dangerous at worst. So yes, manage your stress, process your emotions, seek therapy if you need it, build support systems, practice mindfulness, do all the things that support your psychological well-being. And also, get medical care when you need it. Take prescribed medications, have necessary surgeries, follow evidence-based treatment protocols, trust that science and psychology aren't enemies. They're partners. Because at the end of the day, psychosomatics isn't about choosing between your mind and your body. It's about understanding that you don't have to choose. You never did. Your headache might be worse because of stress. It might also be a migraine that needs specific treatment. Both can be true, usually are. The mind-body connection is real, ancient, powerful, worth understanding deeply. Just not in the way they're selling it to you on social media. What's your experience with this? Have you encountered situations where psychological and medical approaches worked together or conflicted? Share in the comments. I read every one. Subscribe to this channel for more.